Ultra video parity. Oi, just a quick video showing you how to adjust the belt or replace a alternator belt. It's also the alternator, I think, power steering and water pump belt. Now I took off one of the front. This is an Talon 1993 Talon TSI dual overhead cam 2-liter engine. So I had to take one of the fans off so you can reach down here. So there's the fan right there. It's got two 11 millimeter screws. They're metric, and they're right here. There's one, there's two. Then you unplug the electric from it so that you can get to the alternator, which is right there. And there's a plastic cover that fell off, but I'll put that back on last. Now back here there's a bolt. It's a number 12. You should be able to see it. I think you might be able to, or I don't know if I want to zoom in. It's right here where my fingertip is at. It's hard to get to, but you can get to. It's right above the oil filter. And then there's the tensioner bolt that you need to, when you move it to the left, you're loosening. When you move it to the right, clockwise, you're tightening. You have to loosen that. And then there's another, you see right, you should be able to see it right. Let's see, let me put my finger right to it. And then, let's see. See right there? There's another number 12 right there that my finger's on. You have to loosen those three. Now this belt came off. It's an old belt. I need to replace it, but they're about 25 bucks probably, so I'm gonna look online and see if I can get one under 10 bucks. It still has the part number that you can read. See the green area? That's the belt. It came off, and luckily I didn't lose it, but it was weighed down underneath the car. And now if it comes off, or if you need to replace it, you can replace it without taking the wheel off. Some people, now when you replace the alternator, you have to take the front wheel off. You got to take two of these plastic covers off to get to the alternator. That's the easiest way I found. I almost was going to do that to try to replace the belt, but I was able to. Now what you want to do is you take the belt in your hand and you drop it right here. There's a pulley right here. You see the pulley right here? You might be able to see the pulley. It's right underneath the belt. There's a pulley here, and there's another pulley down there. The problem is getting the belt or the pulley in the back. What you do is you put the belt in here and then move it all the way to the back. Try to hook it up to the back pulley first. Then place the belt over the middle pulley, but you're not going to be able to get it on without loosening the alternator. And then I'll show you how the alternator moves. So if you notice, you see how it moves? And the tensioner gets in the way. If you move it all the way to the top like that, the tensioner bolt, I don't know if you can tell, kind of gets in the way. But if you move it all the way to the top, then with your left hand, then with my right hand, I pulled the green belt over the pulley on the alternator, and I was able to get it on tight. And as you know, you should be able to see it now. You see how it moves? So move it all the way to the top, and then the tensioner is going to get in the way. So you have to pull up on the tensioner and then push down, and then it's right in there. There's another belt here too, but I'm only talking about the green belt. Now you might not be able to see it, but it actually fit, and I did not have to take the front wheel off, and I didn't have to get underneath the car. Now here is the tensioner, and here's the other bolt right there. It's 12 millimeter metric. I don't know what this is. I think this is 12 too, but you can hand tighten this. Now that you don't have to worry about this. You don't have to loosen this one right here. There's one in the back that now I have to tighten. It's 12, and I have to tighten. I think from reading this on the internet, this one right here, I think you tighten this one first, and then you mess around with the tensioner, because the tensioner is what causes the belt to get to tighten or loosen. Hence the word the tensioner. So once this is, and then I think you want to have this all the way down. You see how it moves? You don't want it I think you want it all the way down, and then you tighten the one in the back, this one. Then you mess around with the tensioner, and counterclockwise to the left loosens it, the tension of the belt. Clockwise tightens the tension to the belt. That's, I guess, how you're supposed to. And then there's a way to just test it with your finger. You just press in on the belt. You see how much? Look at that. Obviously it's not bolted down, and that would fall off real quick. But you want about a 1/4 inch. Now I think there are tools that you can measure, but how the fuck am I going to do that? You can do it by hand by tightening the alternator bolt, the 212s first, and then you mess around with the tensioner. And the tensioner, you see right here, you see this little bracket? It fits right down here. So if you've got this all the way down, see how it just fit? It just fits. Now, and then when the other bolts are tightened, then you start messing with this. You can hand tighten it, or you might have to have a wrench, but to the counterclockwise loosens it, clockwise tightens it, and it's supposed to tighten the tension on the belt, and there's only supposed to be about a 1/4 inch. You can just press with your finger, and it should only move about a 1/4 inch. If it's too tight, that can cause problems. I think if it's too loose, it'll start squeaking on you, and then if it's too tight, I think it can wear on the alternator, like the pulley. So the alternator on this Eagle Talon 1993 Eagle Talon TSI dual overhead cam, as you can tell, 16 valve, 2-liter engine, turbo, it's got stock turbo, is that I think there's 2 pulleys. It runs the water pump, the power steering, and I think also water pump, power steering, and obviously the alternator. That one belt. So if it comes off, the car runs, but the battery dies real fast. And then also I have a leak in the water pump, which I think is back somewhere around here. You have to take off. This is the timing belt cover. You have to take all this off, and it's like right on the side of the engine block below, probably close to the alternator, but down here, which I don't think I'm going to be able to accomplish myself. I'm going to have to sell this car, or if I can find somebody that's willing to not charge me that much labor. The water pumps are cheap for this car. They're only like $40. But let me see, maybe if I can zoom down there and I can show you. There are other YouTube videos on the internet, but let's see, there it is. Can you see the belt and the tensioner or the pulley? There's one right down below. It's a pain in the ass, but you can do it. If you do it right, you do not have to take off the wheel, the side, and go in on the side. I was able to do it. What I did was I had the belt, it came off, and I pulled it from underneath. So what I did was I went through here. You might also, I think this is a 12. You can loosen this, and you can move this. I think this is a vacuum. I think this is a vacuum hose actually, but you can move it so you have more room. But I was able to get my hand and put the belt here, and there's a pulley here. Wrap it, push it all the way to the back, get it to fit over this middle pulley, and then I was able to move it so it would fit over the pulley in the back. And I pulled on it about here. You see right about here? I pulled on it like right around here, and it was tightened on the back pulley. Then what I did was I loosened the alternator, and I pushed it all the way up forward towards the fire guard, that way. Pushed it all the way this way, or up. I just pushed up all the way with my left hand, and then with my right hand I pulled the belt over the alternator pulley. You know, I only had to do it once. Well, I tried it twice, but after I didn't have the alternator pushed up high enough, and so it wouldn't reach. The second time, when I pushed like this, here, let me loosen that. These can be a pain in the ass. Yeah, see how I pulled up all the way? Then I was able to get it over. See, you see how it's over the pulley now? Alright, that's enough. Alright, so there, that now it goes back. So all I have to do is tighten the two, one at the back, one right here, and then I have to mess with that, and then I just put back the fan. Adios.